And we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Generic Live Show. This is the Generic Live Show for the 18th of June, 2017. It is Dale Campbell. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Generic Live Show. This is the Generic Live Show for the 18th of June. Okay. Ooh. Problem. Why is that? Welcome to the Generic. Why is that not showing video? Spaghetti-O. It's not showing video. That should be showing video. Anyway. That's that's a bit problematic. Oh well. Fix it in post. Go. In 3, 2, 1.
Hold on tight. This is the Generic Live Show.
Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you. It is the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. Thanks for joining us here on GLS. It's a pleasure as always. Thanks for joining us. Whether you're listening to us live or on your hard drive, live on twitch.tv/TheChefWonder, youtube.com/Generic Live Show. Though on the Generic Live Show YouTube page, I do apologize. It is legitimately for the live listeners on YouTube. It is just a static picture. I don't know what is going on, but hopefully that can be fixed at some point in the future. I legitimately. I have an idea on why it has broken, but we're just gonna push on through. That's right. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you. We went here last week. Woo! Dale bombed his final, and it's exciting stuff. Okay, bit of personal life to begin the show. And because I'm on a roll from the pre-show, if you watched the live broadcast on Twitch and the later transferred broadcast on YouTube by the seams of things, it went well. I'm just a little bit more anxious than ever before to kind of foresee the result of my final, and I wasn't expecting it to pan out the way that it did. So, and whether I'm happy that it panned out the way it did or not is a completely different story. So there you go. So, but we're here, we're doing it. We're doing a Generic Live Show. We'll wait and see how that kind of pans out for that. In the meantime, though, most of this week's stories are 2 weeks old, but that's okay because I think this week's show is so large and so encompassing. It's going to cover quite a lot of different perspectives. It is, if you are listening to this live, it is currently 9:04 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time Zone, just after 7:04 a.m. Eastern Time, Florida time, and there you go. It is exciting. It is distracting though having two streams up at the same time, but I'll push on. So the United Kingdom had an election, and it was quite a doozy. And let me tell you, it's definitely something that is probably going to impact the rest of what's to come in the upcoming couple of months here as we head towards sort of Brexit time and kind of world events that are happening in and around. So it's definitely something to take notice of. British Prime Minister Theresa May called a general election in April, 3 years before it was required by UK electoral law, saying that she wanted to increase an increased majority to, quote, strengthen her hand, unquote, in Brexit talks. It appears that gamble has failed. The exit poll conducted for the main UK broadcasters is predicting that her Conservative Party has lost its parliamentary majority. Such a result would be a major upset. Overall, the Conservative Party scored 42.5% of the vote. The UK Labour Party has scored a 40%. The Liberal Democratic Party has scored 7.4%. The SNP, the Scotland National Party, scored 3%, while other parties slash international parties scored a little over 7%. And what's interesting about that result is that I think has got to be the highest independent vote there has been in quite some time when it comes to the UK elections. So that is where that is coming from. A change in seats. The Labour Party has picked up 32 seats. They were the big winner. Chicken dinner. That's not the right noise. That's not the right noise either. No, that's not either. No, well, okay. That's kind of like a bell, I suppose. Why not? Why not? They picked up 32 seats. The Liberal Democrats picked up 3. The SF picked up 2. The DUP picked up 2. The PC picked up 1. The personal computer picked up 1. The UUP lost 2 seats. The SDLP lost 3 seats, rather. Not 2 seats. 3 seats. The Conservative Party lost 13, rather, and SNP lost 19 seats. The Scotland National Party lost 19 seats. Oof, ouch. That is rough on their behalf. But anyway, so, and it was a rough election all around, if you believe everything that everyone has said, pundits has said about this election. It has been one of the toughest fought out battles of all time. And you look at the world events that have happened over the last several months, and it's kind of impressive to see how this happened. I mean, here in this country, we're kind of used to a hung parliament, but in places like the United Kingdom, where they're used to a sense of decorum and a sense of placency, that is huge. That is huge for them. That really is huge for them. So, but Vox.com is what what I'm trying to say there. Wrote a piece saying the shocking UK election results explained, and then this piece goes in very lengthy details. So, and I think it's very much worth a read to those people who are political kind of junkies like me, and you listen to the first hour of this program, and it's an information-heavy first half. So, yeah, why not? We're going to go through this. When projection first came out showing Conservative Prime Minister Theresa May losing control of Parliament on Thursday night, the surprise at the watch party that this person attended in Central London was palpable. People wandered around the basement of a fancy building at a London School of Economics, staring at television, blaring the BBC, with mouths open in either eradication or despair, depending on which they supported. Elation, rather. The full results on Friday morning show that shocked was entirely warranted. May's Tories, that's shorthand speak for Conservative parties, by the way, if anyone wanted to know what that meant, lost 12 seats in Parliament. Then 2 months ago, they reasonably hoped to nearly gain 100. They're still the largest parties, though, winning 318 seats out of a total 60, but no longer hold a majority. In the British system, in this kind of situation where no party controls most of the parliament, it's called a hung parliament. Typically, it means that the largest party keeps control of the government, but they can't pass any major laws. A big deal when she's trying to work out Brexit and how Brexit's going to take place and how that's going to necessarily work in a sense. And that's definitely worth noting, is you've got Brexit coming up, and they don't understand how they're going to get that done now, because it's going to put that at jeopardy if they can't get any major laws through the system. So as May is likely to become Prime Minister. What they don't mention in this article, though, is that they have to technically contact the Queen, and the Queen has to decide whether she can remain Prime Minister or not, depending on how the Queen feels. Of course, the Queen should, 99 times out of 100, decide that, yeah, the same person's going to remain Prime Minister because, well, we don't want the disruption of power to kind of happen. They definitely don't want that to take place, definitely. And meanwhile, the opposition Labour Party, led by left-wing firebrand Jeremy Corbyn, surged, gaining 29 seats in the Parliament. And if the Labour Party wasn't willing enough to gain seats in this manner, they were likely to become a party that is obsolete. They were planning to become, well, not planning to become, they would plan to become, the people would decide that they would become an obsolete political party. And it's good. It's good in 2017. It's good that a political party can kind of raise from the quote unquote dead, if you will, and raise up and surge up. But what I am trying to glean from all of this is people are saying that is a good thing. Cast your minds back to 2016, then talk to me. But okay, different, because ideologically, it was a little different then, because of the values that the person held. But it was still, and I said this back then, probably on this very broadcast, if not in other mediums, it was definitely an uprising, and the uprising worked. It was just a shame that the majority of people disagreed with the movement, and that is not the case in this situation, I'm aware, but it is still kind of an uprising, as it seems. I know I'm going off on a lot of different tangents here, so I'll try and keep it as to a minimum. So what do the results mean? So the full significance of the results while stunning, you need to understand a little bit about how the British system works. It's similar if anyone's familiar with how the system works here in Australia. It's kind of that similar sort of situation. You kind of have that same sort of situation of you vote for MPs, and the MPs serve the fine people of the country. I was trying to think of the next word there to go in that sentence. And in terms of a hung parliament, what happens in a hung parliament, which we've seen in this country on more than one occasion, I may add, it seems that political parties try and form, not necessarily in the British system, but definitely here in Australia, form a kind of two-party preferred sort of basis. And it is they're trying to form a majority, but in this election case, they are not able to form a majority at all. The election was a Conservative gamble that backfired badly. Like I said, the deep irony of the results, the key reason why the Conservatives are furious at Theresa May, is that the devastating election they didn't have happened. In fact, it wasn't supposed to be in the British election until 2020. May called an early election in 10th, something PMs do in parliamentary systems, because she had a good reason and she thought she would win by a massive margin. Quote, I concluded that the only way to guarantee certainty and security for years ahead is to hold this election, she said in a televised statement explaining her decision. Division in Parliament will risk our ability to make successful Brexit. So that is what Theresa May believes. The gamble backfired, so there you go. The margin is like 10.1 now, as opposed to what it used to be. I wonder what it used to be. They don't say that here. But the biggest impact will be on Brexit, with consequences that affects millions of lives. Normally, British elections don't have major stakes for the rest of the world, but this one's different. Brexit being the most obvious reason. No more than 100,000 people to be admitted to Britain per year. For this to happen, they need to end the free flow of people into the EU and Britain, certainly mandated by EU law. 3 million EU citizens currently live in the UK. 250,000 EU citizens moved to the UK alone last year. Oof. Wow, there you go. Jeepers. The problem, though, is that the EU is unlikely to agree to this and continue to allow UK access to the EU's common market, which grants all the EU countries privileged trade status with each other. The UK depends on EU for trade. About 44% of exports go to the rest of Europe. Wow. In that scenario, it's called a hard Brexit. Will happen automatically unless the EU and the UK come to softer terms. Excuse me. Yeah, I know. Riveting stuff. Quote, Theresa May said she wanted a strong majority for Britain's exit from the EU, but she can't get that, German Foreign Minister Sigmar Gabriel said in a Friday morning statement. The message of this election is fair decisions. Have fair decisions with the EU and think about whether it's actually good for Britain to leave the EU in this way. Whew, yeah, Britain not really having a fun time at the moment, let me tell you. Yeah, June has been a rough month. Oh, God. By gosh. By golly gosh. Yeah, but all that joking voice aside, two attacks and now a hung parliament. Seriously, you have to ask yourself what is next for the the UK. Like, is there anything left for the UK at this point? I don't know. It really is. It is really hard to tell if there is anything left for the UK to experience over the next couple of months as we head towards September, which apparently is when Brexit is slated to happen. And it's certainly the right people, unfortunately, are in power for that to happen. So tune in right here, Generic Live Show. We've got you covered all Brexit long, if that makes sense. I don't know what that's meant to mean. As we continue here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday, broadcasting live, you can see my face on Twitch, twitch.tv/TheChefWonder. Probably going to be moving over to a GLS dedicated account here soon. As we continue, we ask the important questions here on the Generic Live Show, and we've got an important one for you coming up right after this. It's the Generic Live Show. Only the important, hard-hitting questions here on GLS. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you. We're doing it for Geek.io as always. Thanks for joining us. It's 9:21.
This Geek.io Podcast Network program is sponsored by Audible. They're the leaders in digital audiobooks on the internet. Choose from over 100,000 titles across all types of literature, including fiction, non-fiction, and periodicals. Try audible.com now and get your first 30 days of Audible Listener Gold membership plan for free. That's right, free, which includes 1 audiobook credit per month. After your 30-day trial, your membership will renew for just $14.95 per month, so you can continue to receive your audiobook credit per month, plus members-only discounts on all audio purchases. If audiobooks aren't quite your thing, well, that's okay. Audible also have a variety of radio and TV programs and audio versions of magazines and newspapers. There's something for everyone. Check out geek-io.net/audible for all of the details. And we thank Audible for their support of the Geek.io Podcast Network.
Hey, you. Yes, you, fine listener of this program. You can help us become more than what we already are. I know. It's a revolution. Hold on to your butts, because I'm about to give you a URL address that could change our lives. Not really, but it would help us out tremendously if you went over to geek-io.net/support, so we can do a lot more than what we're actually doing now. That website actually has a lot of links on it where you can help us out monthly through Patreon at our Patreon site at patreon.com/geek.io, or you can help us out once off by supporting those who support us. But then you can become the ones who support us, who support you, who support us. It's Supportception. To continue this Supportception, it's in your hands. Go to geek-io.net/support to keep this ever-long cycle of support up. Thank you.
Whether we're waking you up or putting you to sleep, this is the Generic Live Show.
Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's the Generic Live Show. Thanks for joining us. It's Dale Campbell here. We're doing it for Geek.io as per always. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show. It is certainly good to be here. It's your Sunday night dance party. Woo! Yes. Oh, yeah, getting it up and moving or putting it to sleep with Dance Hits USA. I don't know what that's meant to mean. All right. I don't know what any of this is meant to mean. You know what I do mean, or do I know what it means? I don't know what that's. I'm just saying words now. Words English, hard, difficult. A cover girl. You know, a cover girl. Brand, what does the makeup? They do the makeup. They do the makeup. I said do. Girl, the makeup brand, they you. What is wrong with applying makeup in public? Every morning in cities around the world, you'll find a woman applying makeup on public transport during her daily commute. It's a regular habit for millions of women. It's even backed by studies that say that good grooming, including wearing makeup, can boost your pay packet and chances of getting promoted. In 2017, yes, that is still a thing, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, even for men, you know, men wear makeup too. Real men eat quiche and wear makeup. Is that what we're going? Is that what we're really going for here? But public preening has peeved off some people. Whoa! So much so that public transportation bodies in major metropolitan cities have signs asking women to not apply makeup on trains or buses. Clipping, priming, everyone wants to look their best, but it's a subway car, not a restroom. An advertisement from New York's Metropolitan Transportation Authority, accompanied by an image of a man clipping his nails and a woman brushing her hair. Now, high street beauty brand CoverGirl is hitting back. Oh, CoverGirl with hard-hitting journalism. Much like this show. We are the CoverGirls of news programs. Yes. Yes. Yes, we are. You know that's right. Hitting back. We are the CoverGirl of news programs. That's too good. What they call makeup shaming. After a study they conducted, found that more than half women feel uncomfortable doing their makeup in public. This week, they launched a new campaign called Project PDA, which stands for Public Displays of Application. Can we play this ad? It's a minute 45.
I saw this sign and wondered, what's wrong with applying your makeup in public? We saw this sign and wondered, what's wrong with applying your makeup in public? And is this just an ad on the subway or a sign of something bigger? So we conducted a survey with over 1,500 women around the country, and more than half stated that they would feel uncomfortable doing their makeup in public.
People think you're vain.
Whatever.
People look at you
Judge
like
you.
side-eyed. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
just
okay.
judging.
People were stopped and staring at me like I was a circus clown, and it was literally just me baking my face.
No, I'll do it anywhere because I have to.
Yeah.
But then, like, when people like look at you,
it caught me off guard. I was so confused as to why she felt so offended for something that is on my face.
I had to do my makeup in a rush inside of a taxi, and the taxi driver seemed rather bothered. He proceeded to ask me if I could please put away the makeup products that I was using.
There are these messages telling women what to do and what not to do.
I think that is completely ridiculous. How can you compare applying makeup to toenail clipping?
At CoverGirl, we believe that no one should tell you how, when, or where you make up. It's up to you. So we put up mirrors all over New York City and brought 500 women together to look this stigma in the eye. Because makeup is nothing to be ashamed of.
Makeup is an extension of who you are.
I personally view it as doing artwork in public.
So lip out loud, blush boldly, cat eye with confidence. Don't shy away from a little PDA. Public display of application, that is.
Aww. Yeah, see, I don't know how I feel about. Oh, what is that? Oh, okay, ooh, right. I just saw an image that I don't think I really wanted to see. Anywho, As a part of tonight's dinner, proudly brought to you by that picture that no one can see. All right, as a part of the PDA campaign, CoverGirl put up mirrors all across New York City and invited 500 women to apply their makeup. This is all the ad that is saying. When we saw the sign on New York subway system and wondered, what is wrong with applying makeup in public? Yeah. And it's just an ad campaign for random windows popping up in the middle of, there you go. And it's just an ad on the subway or a sign that's bigger. The ad asks, there are messages telling women what to do and what not to do. At CoverGirl, we believe no one should tell you how or when, where to apply their makeup. It's up to you. Because makeup is nothing to be ashamed of. Ah, yes. As we continue here on the Generic Live Show, where we are the cover girls. We are the cover girl of new shows is pretty good. I'm not even gonna lie. That is a pretty accurate description of this show. We are the high brand makeup of these shows. And as we continue here on the Generic Live Show, well, here at home, there was a little bit of a mishap. You might not know about it. We'll tell you more as we continue here on the Generic Live Show. This story might actually scare you. So we do apologize for that in advance. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show. I'm going to put a fresh face on and it's in public. Oh my gosh. Thanks for joining us. It's 9:31.
Want a custom computer? Want to run the latest games at the highest graphics with no lag? Want to build a computer that can make and edit movies or videos like them they're professionals? Pugent Systems has your solution. Go to geek-io.net/Pugent to build a brand new custom computer. We'd like to thank Pugent Systems for their support of the Geek.io network. Fine listener of this program, you can help us become more than what we already are. I know. It's a revolution. Hold on to your butts because I'm about to give you a URL address that could change our lives. Not really, but it would help us out tremendously if you went over to geek-io.net/support so we could do a lot more than what we're actually doing now. That website actually has a lot of links on it where you can help us out monthly through Patreon at our Patreon site at patreon.com/geekio, or you can help us out once off by supporting those who support us. But then you can become the ones who support us, who support you, who support us. It's supportception. To continue this supportception, it's in your hands. Go to geek-io.net/support to keep this ever-long cycle of support up. Thank you.
You finally found the most generic live show. This is the Generic Live Show.
Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you, doing it for Geek.io as per always. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's a pleasure to be here as per always. Now, there was a little... It's when that beat drops, yo. When events happen here locally, we try and bring them to you, and things hit hard. Things hit hard when they hit home, if that makes sense. I don't know if what that's meant to mean. A former terrorist suspect of violence took a sex worker suburban Australian apartment building on Monday. This was
Is it
ages
terrorism?
ago. Oh god.
A much repeated question that's asked by government agencies in the wake of an attack. And while it seems simple at first, making
Hello.
a call can be a struggle.
The deadly terror attack.
In 2015, there were almost 15,000 acts of terror in the world. The problem is that there's no internationally recognized definition for terrorism. The UN has been debating it for years. The FBI defined terrorism as the unlawful use of force or violence against persons or property to intimidate or coerce a government, the civilian population, or any segment thereof in furtherance of political or social objectives. So, essentially, it comes down to motive. Was there a political or ideological agenda behind the attack? Take this. In March 2017, Khalid Massoud ran over civilians on Westminster Bridge and stabbed a police officer in the Palace of Westminster. He killed 4 and was shot dead by police officers. Attack in London for more than a decade. It was labeled terrorism. In 2012, 20-year-old Adam Lanza shot and killed 27 people in the now infamous Sandy Hook massacre before turning the gun on himself. He was a recluse, obsessed with school shootings, but it wasn't called terrorism because he had no known ideological intent. The reality is that in some of these cases, it's less clear-cut. But sometimes it can be used out of bias.
There is a danger that we only use the word terrorism to refer to a particular racial profile of perpetrator.
In June 2015, 9 people were killed in Charleston, South Carolina, when Dylan Roof opened fire in one of the oldest African-American churches in the United States. He was later found to be a white supremacist. But despite multiple calls for his crime to be considered an act of terror, Roof was convicted for hate crimes and murder charges, not terrorism.
The Charleston example is a really important one to really conceptualize exactly how and why terrorism is essentially contested. And in this case, we get to the heart of the debate. Sometimes terrorism is not.
Oh, that, okay. And this would be a problem with that video. It just randomly cut off in the middle there. But that video kind of describes a kind of terrorism sort of situation, if that, that kind of what is terrorism? This event that is depicted here is known as a terrorism sort of event, but whereas times where there are mass shootings, that's not defined as terrorism. That's the point of that video. Do we have that audio coming up? That'll interrupt me whenever it's ready. We're just having some technical glitches on this side of the fence. Not to worry. One man was killed. 3 police officers were injured. Reading on about this story in Melbourne that happened as a result of the hostage standoff in the Melbourne suburb of Brighton, which ended after the attacker, since named 29-year-old, not going to name them, was shot dead by police. Again, people, stop dragging me through the mud. I'm not naming these people. I'm not giving them the time of day on the air. Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull reports Tuesday the attack. This is a couple of weeks ago, to be noted, was being treated as a terrorist incident and has shocked all Australians. Quote, this terrorist attack by a known criminal was a man who was recently released on parole is shocking. Cowardly crime. It is a terrorist attack, and it underlines the need for us to be consistently vigilant. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull says, and we've got the Prime Minister talking, but whether the Prime Minister wants to talk or not is another story entirely. Again, wow, our systems here have really just taken a nosedive. Apologies for that. We're going to try and try and get everything back up and running again. Oh boy. Okay, so the terrorist attack is known criminal. Okay, we just said that. Turnbull said that the man had previously been known to police. Okay, it seems like up and running again. Yay! There you go. So the police had linked to extremist organizations. Quote, we had a long record of violence, very long record of violence. That's not me stuffing that up. That is literally the quote. He had been charged with terrorist offenses and was acquitted. He was known to have connections, at least in the past, with extremism. The attacker may have been baited to police.
Commissioner Mike Phelan. The events in Brighton and Melbourne last night, coming so soon after the attack in London, have shocked all Australians. This terrorist attack by a known criminal, a man who was only recently released on parole, is a shocking, cowardly crime. It is a terrorist attack, and it underlines the need for us to be constantly vigilant, never to be deterred, always defiant in the face of Islamist terrorism. Now, I want to say how much all Australians admire and thank the Victoria Police for their decisive and courageous intervention.
That is Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull giving a press conference with the Duty Commissioner Mike Plan from the Australian Federal Police. Is this that other video isn't working? Okay. HQ is telling me that nothing is working. Thank you, HQ. I already knew that nothing was working. Thank you for telling me that nothing was working as soon as I was told that nothing was working. We'll push on. We'll push onwards and upwards. Thanks, HQ. After 2 hours, the man burst out of the apartment and began firing at police, hitting 3 of them. He was quickly gunned down by law enforcement authorities.
Simon Banks, I want to bring you in here. I think Kerry makes a really good point that we need to draw a distinction between those two cases in terms of when we're talking about bail and when we're talking about parole. In the case of the Lindt Cafe, the recent coronial inquiry did identify some failings in terms of the prosecutor there, the DPP, and also the access to information they had from the Commonwealth as well. But in relation to this idea that Dan Andrews has put up today, it strikes me as extremely legally messy. In the case of this man's parole, we now understand from the Victorian government the parole board did know that this man had had links with this failed terror plot in relation to Holsworthy. But at the end of the day, he had never been charged with this or convicted of this terror offence. He had been charged and acquitted. He had not been convicted. So what is Dan Andrews on about?
Well, I actually think Dan Andrews is making a very sensible point. In fact, I think the Prime Minister's tried to make the other point. And I've got to say, to be honest, I think it's the Prime Minister who's made the more appalling suggestion in terms of some of his radio interviews today. What Dan Andrews has pointed out, I think, under both of these sets of circumstances, is that there is a nexus between, I guess, criminal activity and how that needs to be dealt with in the normal criminal justice system. But when there's a clear national security element to it, the people who ultimately have the best information, the best knowledge about what's going on, are in fact our national security agencies. It may well be, for example, that the Victorian Police in a particular circumstance, and I'm certainly not suggesting it happened in this case, don't have the most up-to-date and relevant information, whereas, for example, ASIO may well have. So he's really saying that there needs to be coordination between the state and federal authorities about how that takes place. And I think in fairness to both him.
But
The
there's
Prime Minister
no
disagree.
terror watch list. How can you coordinate it via a terror watch list that doesn't exist? What is Dan Andrews talking about?
Well, for starters, as you quite rightly pointed out, Sam, there are 400 apparently people or thereabouts that our national security agencies are tracking. Now, they weren't tracking this particular individual, and I guess there's a question about why wasn't that the case. I think that's a pretty fair question to the Prime Minister, to ASIO, the AFP, and etc., because I think that is a relevant consideration in all of this. But at the end of the day, someone has to decide whether or not there's a national security issue here, and who is best placed to actually make that determination. Ultimately, that comes with the advice of ASIO, the AFP, and those agencies. They're the ones with the best information to inform those processes, and then decisions can be made in individual cases.
That is a response to Malcolm Turnbull and what he said about parole. So he was on parole. So both Mr. Turnbull and the and Ashton he was known to police and had been released on parole at the time of the attack. There is a whole range of offending going back many years. Most recently, he has done prison time in relation to reckless intending causing injury, Ashton said. Ultimately, he had been qualified on parole and was on parole at the time of this offence. I can't. His home in Melbourne, suburb of Roxburgh Park, where he lived with his mother, was being searched by police on Tuesday. Brighton is a suburban area in eastern Melbourne, known for its affluent residents and close proximity to beaches of Port Phillip Bay. Police were called to the scene after emergency calls reported loud bangs or explosions, Victoria Police Deputy Commissioner Andrew Crisp said Monday, which were later confirmed to be shotgun blasts. The police, the woman who had been held hostage was released and was unharmed, it was said, while Crisp confirmed the 3 officers injuring were not life-threatening. So, okay, there is a number of conversations to be had here. I'm going to go back to, this press conference.
They responded
here.
swiftly, and they, as they always do, as our police and security services and the ADF.
I want to know when the commissioner speaks.
Are your concerns with the Victoria parole system just confined to terrorism or more broad?
Well, it is.
Okay, so for those faint listeners, there was a question there about the parole system. So
It's
here's
also
that
been,
question.
you mentioned Jill Maher's case, but there's also there have been other cases as well. It is clear that this is a real issue where people with known records of violence and including people with known terrorist connections or at least connections with extremists have been released on parole. So yes, this is an issue that we'll be raising and discussing with the premiers on Friday.
Okay, so that is the answer that was provided there in regards to this attack. Update, by the way, apologies. We did have some technical difficulties, but we're back now. So there you go. That doesn't matter at all. I do apologize. We did have some technical difficulties and the Twitch stream did drop, but it should be all right. It'll be fine. Life goes on. Life continues as per is. But anyway, so that is a whole other story, because that is actually a conversation that isn't really brought up that much, is parole in regards to, were these people ever done jail time for crimes like this before, and why are they being let out off? I don't believe I'm saying this, but kind of agree with the Prime Minister here. It very, very we need to take a very harsh approach in terms of trying to find out if these people have committed these crimes before, and really trying to see why they're being let out and why, of course, they're going to commit these crimes again. We just need to find out why they're being released and try and prevent them from doing them again. And if, I don't know, trying to take the other side of the argument there is a little bit difficult, because it's like, okay, well, we don't have to set up a parole, and then it's that. But of course, the fact that he was on parole is not the prime reason we should be looking into this, but it does bring in a different element to the conversation that we're not used to having in situations like this. And it is very interesting to bring up that point as we continue here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. Well, everyone's favorite segment is back. It is indeed the Trump Tracker time. Oh, you know, that clip always sneaks up on me. But anyway, it's time to check the Trump thing with the stuff. As we continue here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday, it's Dale Campbell here with you. It's 9:50.
Hey you, yes you, fine listener of this program. You can help us become more than what we already are. I know, it's a revolution. Hold on to your butts, because I'm about to give you a URL address that could change our lives. Not really, but it would help us out tremendously if you went over to geek-io.net/support, so we can do a lot more than what we're actually doing now. That website actually has a lot of links on it where you can help us out monthly through Patreon at our Patreon site at patreon.com/geekio, or you can help us out once off by supporting those who support us. But then you can become the ones who support us, who support you, who support us. It's supportception. To continue this supportception, it's in your hands. Go to geek-io.net/support.
This Geek-io podcast network is proudly sponsored by
ever-long
ThinkGeek.
cycle of support.
ThinkGeek is the biggest online retailer of all things geeky. That's right, everything geeky. And they stock the biggest brands in geekiness, like Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Minecraft, Legend of Zelda, Marvel, Game of Thrones, DC Comic, and Geek Labs. And they sell a whole bunch of things like collectibles, electronics and gadgets, t-shirts and apparel, gifts. They sell it all over at ThinkGeek. And they have free shipping on orders over $75 or a flat $6.95 US standard shipping to all places in the US. So when you're ready to check out the range over at ThinkGeek, the online geek superstore, just use our link to go over to ThinkGeek over at geek-io.net/ThinkGeek. That gives us a little bit of a kickback on what you buy. Don't worry, we're not stealing your shoe size or asking you for a blood sample. It's okay. We're only back from what you buy. We don't actually see what you buy from ThinkGeek. Join in, geek out, ThinkGeek. We thank ThinkGeek for their support of the Geek.io podcast network.
Hold on tight. This is the Generic Live Show.
Push the button, push the button, push the button, push the button. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you. Thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure to be here as per always. That button really just didn't want to work. And it's a sign, ladies and gentlemen, when your button doesn't want to work, it means it's time for... No, that's not it. That's definitely not it. This is it. That's the one. Hang on, can I? No, don't play that. No, don't play that at all. Can I? No, again, don't play that. I was trying to test something here. Okay, Trump tracker time. Clearly, I really want to talk about the Trump tracker. Of course, this comes to us from our friends over. This is the Washington Post Generic Live Show. Trump tracker fun time stuff. It is day 140. No, it's 150. Wow, 150. 150 of the Trump administration. Do we have a... No, we don't have that. That's 150. Yeah, okay, Snorfest. Okay, 150 of the Trump administration. That means there's 130. No, 1,000. I wish it was only 130 days left. 1,310 days left in his term. We are tracking the progress of 60 pledges he made during his campaign, whether he achieves these goals. This will come as a surprise to no one. The Trump tracker actually has stalled out. The Trump tracker has kind of hit a bit of a stalling point because there really has not been anything happening in terms of Trump, except for what we're covering next hour, and that is legitimately all of the Trump goodness. I mean, greatest hits of Trump so far. What are the greatest hits of Trump? What would we say? Actually, what does he have left? Let's do what does he have left? Okay, let's not do that. He'd grow the economy? Yeah, sure, why not? Promise, not yet rated. Propose a constitutional amendment to impose term limits, impose a ban on foreign lobbyists, direct the Secretary of Commerce and U.S. Trade Representative to identify foreign trading abuses, direct the Secretary of Commerce and U.S. Trade Representative to use each tool under the U.S. international law to end foreign trading abuses immediately, due last year. Cancel every unconstitutional executive memorandum ordered by President Obama. Oh boy. Some of these have deadlines as back as the first day in office. End Common Core. That's my favorite one. Will Trump ever end Common Core? That is the big question. Actually, can we tackle that for a moment? I am very unknowledgeable of what Common Core is. What is Common Core? Let's pause on that. Now, I've been told, what I've been told is Common Core is it a state by state kind of deal? I've been told that it's kind of make sure that everyone is on that same sort of standard to make sure that transferring is easier. That's what I've been told. So to abolish that, what would be in place of that? I don't understand what good could come out of ending a national standard. I mean, I don't know. See, this is what the problem's going to be. There's going to be There's going to be all of these sitting here. There's going to be 32 not rates sitting here that, of course, are probably going to be used as broken. Well, they might actually do that. Give a middle-class family with 2 children 35% pay cut. That might happen. I would believe that. I'd believe that. But there you go. Trump tracker. Here we go. 150 days. And it's still happening. As we continue here on the Generic Live Show, the Generic Live Show is still happening. We've still got another hour of broadcasting goodness for your ear holes. Well, the United Kingdom had an election. I'm going to tell you all about it as we continue here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. Thanks for joining us. It's Dale Campbell here with you. It's 10 o'clock.
Hey you, yes you, fine listener of this program. You can help us become more than what we already are. I know, it's a revolution. Hold on to your butts because I'm about to give you a URL address that could change our lives. Not really, but it would help us out tremendously if you went over to geek-io.net/support so we can do a lot more than what we're actually doing now. That website actually has a lot of links on it where you can help us out monthly through Patreon at our Patreon site at patreon.com/geekio, or you can help us out once off by supporting those who support us. But then you can become the ones who support us, who support you, who support us. It's supportception. To continue this supportception, it's in your hands. Go to geek-io.net/support to keep this ever-long cycle of support up. Thank you.
So today I'd like to let you know about a small internet startup called Amazon.com. Go to geek-io.net/Amazon to check out their large catalogs of books and magazines. I believe they may have some other items for sale too, records and videotapes perhaps. Using geek-io.net/Amazon lets them know you discovered them through us, and I'll throw a few pennies our way. Thank you.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is JD from How It Stacks here to talk to you about ProXPN. It is a private VPN, which basically means it is going to mask your IP address, protecting your data. So if you're out on the interwebs doing things you might not need to be doing, or if you're banking online overseas, it will help mask your data and keep it completely private. And you can do this for only $6.25 a month regularly, or you can use Geek20 for 20% off. So it's a pretty stellar deal, guys. And I'm just going to be honest, with all of the stuff that we've had going on, it's a good idea to invest in something like ProXPN. JD, and I approve this message.
I got bad news for you. Your t-shirt sucks. You should take it off and buy a new one. And the best place to buy a new t-shirt is www.geek-io.net/tfury, because I can have a t-shirt, you can have a t-shirt, but you better not get it from anywhere else but T-Fury. I am JD, and I approve this message. Hi, this is JD. You know me from How It Stacks and other popular things that haven't quite caught on yet. But something that has caught on, that would be Think Geek. And everybody loves Think Geek because you can get Han Solo ice cubes, Daleks, sonic screwdrivers. Hell, I'm drinking a screwdriver now, but only because, I love Think Geek. And you can get all of those things except for, a screwdriver at geek-io.net/thinkgeek. And once again, I'm JD from How It Stacks and other things.
Welcome to your Generic Live Show.
Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. Yeah, unmuting a microphone could also lower your risk of not being heard. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you. It's a pleasure as per always. Thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure to be here as always. I'm a little worried that we might have dropped again. But anyway, thanks for joining us. It's good to be here. Actually convenient if that's the case. But anyway, trying things out. YouTube is messing up tonight. They're only doing audio, so apologies for that if you're over on youtube.com/generic live show. Only audio tonight because we are on Twitch, twitch.tv/thechefwonder, THECHEFWONDR. We're trying this Twitch thing, streaming deal combo hour out, and it's going well so far. We've dropped once, but I think that was a network thing. I think the whole entire shindig just decided to cave in, and why not? And that's fine because it happens. It happens when we're on YouTube, so I don't know why. I don't know why that's surprising. That's not a Twitch thing. That is a network thing, and that is something that I need to talk about off the air. But we're back. We're good to be back. It's good to be back, and it's good to. I feel a lot lighter this week, and I'll tell you why. We will get to what we need to talk about here in just a little bit, and the like. I mean, we've got a full hour of programming to get through, so you know why not? It's good. Life's good. I was talking about this because I did a Saturday night stream last night, and when we're recording this live in front of a live studio audience, and I did a stream, and I was talking about on the stream there where sorry, it's live talk for a moment here because I did my final ever final here last Monday, actually. In fact, last Monday I did my final ever final, and I don't think I did all that well, and it's kind of bothering me, but I know that I can't really do anything about it now because it's done, and you can't really do anything once it's done. You just got to write it out and see how you actually do. And I don't know, like I said, my final ever final, and I want to do well. So it's not like I intentionally bombed for it for me to actually take the class again. I legitimately tried, and I don't think I did all that well. But I'll find out on the 4th of July. Funny that 4th of July, I'll find out my result, and 4th of July is the American Independence Day, I think. Is that what the 4th of July is? Email me, genericliveshow@gmail.com. There, got the obligatory plug for the email out for the day. Let's get moving, up and moving here on a Sunday with Dale Campbell. Thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure as always. Last hour, we broke down the UK election results. And British Prime Minister Theresa May called a general election in April, 3 years before it was required by UK electoral law, saying that she wanted to have an increased majority to strengthen her hand in Brexit talks. It appears that political gamble failed. The exit poll conducted for the main UK broadcasters is predicting that her Conservative Party has lost the majority in such a major upset. Wow. The Conservative Party earned 42.5% of the vote. The Labour Party got 40% of the vote. The Liberal Democrats got 7.4%. SNP, the Scottish National Party, got 3% of the vote, and other political parties got 7.1%, which I'm led to believe is the highest amount in kind of political sort of history, which is really, that's, again, I think that's a good thing that more independent parties got more votes and kind of are gaining ground, and that's kind of transitions us into kind of breaking down what actually happened here. And I think what happened here was that I think one, the Labour Party that got second, quote unquote, second place here kind of saw that saw that they where was I going with that? They kind of saw that they are popular again, and they kind of have that momentum and kind of have that swell and that precision to kind of live on and kind of be this party that lives on, because this election was a telling sign for them internally as to see whether they could actually survive as a party and as a force that is to be winning elections and all the rest of it. No, they didn't win this election, but they certainly took enough seats off the UK Conservative Party that it certainly was enough to take it away, if that makes sense, like to kind of balance it out and to stop the Conservatives and Theresa May from gaining that majority, which that to me was kind of the primary objective of their whole game plan, was to take away from the Conservative parties and not actually win the election. In my personal opinion, anyway. That is Dale's personal opinion. Anyway, the winners and losers: the Labour Party earned 32 seats, the Liberal Democrats earned 3 points, the SF, whatever the SF is, earned 3 seats, 3 points. I say 3 points. The DUP earned 2 points, the PC, the personal computer, earned 1 point, the UUP lost 2 seats, the SDLP lost 3 points, the Conservative Party lost 13 seats, and the SNP lost 19 seats. The Scottish National Party, what is that orange one? The DUP, the Northern Ireland Party? I don't know what that's meant to mean. Fascinating. Fascinating stuff. But anyway, so meanwhile, oh gosh, oh no. I feel like we're heading down this path again. But anyway, so we'll move on. God, now we got window. Now we got, oh God, guys, come on, what is happening? Focus, Dale, focus. All right, so what does this result mean? So to fully understand the significance of these results will be stunning. And why they're so stunning, you'll need to know a little bit about how the British system works. Like I said last hour, if you're familiar at all with how the Australian system works at all, it's kind of similar. Less in this sense, then you kind of have to make a deal to earn the majority overall, and and also in the British system, you kind of have to get the support of the Queen as well. You kind of have to earn the Queen's vote as well, not the Queen's vote. You have to get the Queen's sort of permission, so to speak, to kind of continue running the country. Like I said last hour, 99 times out of 100, she'll say yes, because it's a disruption to power if she doesn't. That part just occurred to me. It's kind of a disruption to power if she says no, you can't. And that's just how it works. And one thing that, like I said before, the main sort of reason why this is significant is that the Conservative gamble kind of backfired. That is the big sort of deal here. The deep irony of these results, so to speak, is that, oh gosh, Twitch stream is down. Really? I was on a roll. Here. Could they not? Okay. So the reason why it's so thing is because Theresa May wanted a full hand going into Brexit talks, and they at the time had a 17-seat majority, so they were over the majority threshold by 17 seats, which I'm led to believe is where is that result? 326 is that result. So there you go. There's that. So she wanted an upper hand in that regard. So she kind of wanted to see where she could take the talks, but with a hung parliament, and we know this all too well here in Australia, is you can't really do anything with a hung parliament. It's kind of pointless to do any. You can't pass any laws when it comes to. You actually can't pass any laws when it comes to passing laws. You can't actually get them through Parliament. That's what I'm trying to say. Wow, too many things. Words difficult, hard. Smile. Yeah, I'm done. Okay, so I'm not having a stroke on air. No, that's not happening. I can do all that sort of stuff. You know if I was having a stroke on air. So the Brexit talk is where it's at, and it's the harsh anti-immigration position is kind of where it hit hardest, so to speak, and it did hit hard there, and so it should actually, and calling for no more than 100,000 to be admitted to Britain per year. For this to happen, they need to end the free flow of people between the European Union and Britain, currently mandated by EU law. 3 million EU citizens currently live in the UK. 250 EU citizens moved to the UK last year alone. The problem, though, is that the EU is likely to agree to this and continue to allow the UK access to the EU's common market, which grants EU countries privileged trade status with each other. The UK depends on trade with the EU. About 44% of its exports go to the rest of Europe. Getting starkly cut off from the common market could, as a result, tank the UK economy and damage the EU as well. In that scenario, it's called a hard Brexit. Hard Brexit, whatever a hard Brexit may be. whatever that may include. And the pre-election May appeared very comfortable with it, judging her campaign rhetoric. No deal for Britain is better than a bad deal for Britain. Wait, hang on. What? I might actually be having a stroke on air. Oh, call the ambulance. What? A bad deal? Oh, no deal for Britain is better than a bad deal for Britain. Yeah, that makes sense. I was reading it the other way around. A bad deal for Britain is better than no deal for Britain at all. Wow, that is hard. Theresa May said she wanted a strong majority for Brexit. Britain takes it from the EU. She doesn't get that, German Foreign Minister Sigmar Gabriel said. Yeah, Britain, spot a bother at the moment. Yeah, we'll see how the rest of 2017 pans out, but I think 2017 for Britain was heading towards the 2016 kind of territory, if that makes sense. I think it's creeping up there. I mean, last year we had the rise of Trump and the revolution of Trump, and this time we've got the Labour Party coming back in full force, and it's an uprising. Yeah, they didn't win, but they certainly did what they had to do to achieve the political goal that they set out to achieve. Definitely similar. But it's interesting as well that for the Labour Party to turn around and now have this challenge and now to have a voice in there to try and stop this from happening. Brexit will still happen, but under what circumstances what circumstances will it happen under can now be negotiated with more of a Labour power and more of a Labour movement in the parliament. And this is not my political standings here. That would have happened on the Conservative side. If Labour was suggesting a Brexit style event, the Conservatives would come on in and go, I'm not too sure about that. Can we refine a few things and da-da-da? But see, if someone had a majority, that would turn the whole argument upside down for sure. So, poor Britain not getting a fair go here lately. Yeah, with all the terror stuff happening as well, it's definitely a tough time for good old Britain, isn't it? It's a real shame, really, of what's been happening over there. But we'll continue to monitor Britain and how they're going with life, and I shouldn't say how they're going with life. That makes it sound pretty bad. How they're going with life. We'll check in from time to time. We'll be here, and if Britain needs anything, like a warm glass of milk or something, then we'll be here to comfort it. We will tuck Britain in at night if it needs to come to that, but it won't have to come to that. But it's certainly, if we're going to look back on 2017, it's certainly going to be Britain as opposed to America this year, I think. Talk too soon, Dale. Jinx. Anyway, as we continue here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday, it's Dale Campbell here with you. Kmart, the big shoebox company Kmart, is about to get a little bit cheaper down under. We'll tell you more as we continue here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you. We're doing it for Geek.io. It's 10:21.
Hey you, yes you, fine listener of this program. You can help us become more than what we already are. I know, it's a revolution. Hold on to your butts, because I'm about to give you a URL address that could change our lives. Not really, but it would help us out tremendously if you went over to geek-io.net/support, so we can do a lot more than what we're actually doing now. That website actually has a lot of links on it where you can help us out monthly through Patreon at our Patreon site at patreon.com/geek.io, or you can help us out once off by supporting those who support us. But then you can become the ones who support us, who support you, who support us. It's Supportception. To continue this Supportception, it's in your hands. Go to geek-io.net/support.
This podcast is proudly sponsored by Amazon. Amazon has all of your needs
cycle
all
of support
occasions. Amazon stocks a large range of pretty much everything. Everything from automotive to baby to computers, payment cards, groceries, health and personal care, and everything for Amazon Kindles, ebooks, movies and television, magazines, office products, and stuff for your patio, lawn, and garden. Hey, they even sell sports goods. If you're into sports ball. If you're ready to check out the range at Amazon.com, use geek-io.net/Amazon to help out the Geek.io podcast network. We get a little bit of a kickback through our affiliate link there. That's geek-io.net/Amazon. Amazon, everything for every occasion. Everything for every occasion may not be the official slogan for Amazon. Some products are not available in all areas.
Hold on tight. This is the Generic Live Show.
Joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. Oh, my microphone was not connected then as we continue. Hi, we're back from a commercial break. Thanks for joining us here on the Genetic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you as per always. It's a pleasure to be here. It's great to be here actually here on a Sunday. It is great to be here. All right, Kmart. You know the Kmart? Well, Current Affair has the story. Of course they do, and it's going to be a commercial because of course it is. Oh boy!
Stream it live.
I thought get away with it all. So Kmart shoppers are set to save hundreds of dollars each year with clothing items slashed after the retail giant announced it will start manufacturing in Java, Indonesia. This audio.
Central Java. Make no mistake, these aren't military compounds. The most profitable department store in Australia has arrived. And they're very happy to see them. These are the factories making your clothes.
It seems like fun, actually. I'm not gonna. It's a terrible thing, and mass production and the like, and it's definitely got some problems, but they're having a blast. They're having a blast. Like, what in the world? Like, it's, oh my gosh. I was seriously expecting something to be like all dour and like, wouldn't you wish it's a compound? It's like that. So there you go. What? Oh boy. All right. So there is that. I was not expecting that at all. There you go. Wow. Nine's Current Affair reports that some clothing will be reduced by more than 20% as designers claim that they can order on such a scale that their goods are cheaper and of better quality. Quote. Customers, I don't know why I said quote like that. Customers' expectations are rising at an incredible rate. Unquote. Kmart Managing Director Ian Bailey told a Current Affair, quote, we sell over 800 million things a year. That was me eye rolling for audio listeners. You don't have to make a lot of money on each thing for it to be a profitable business, Mr. Bailey said. Right. Okay. Kmart promised it will not produce cheap and nasty clothing items as it increases sales by keeping prices low. Mr. Bailey said a lot of Australians are doing it tough, and a few dollars saved on clothing might make a huge difference. All of us are looking for factories that do the right thing, and are pumping waste into rivers is no good to anyone in the long run. Not good to us, not good to the community, Mr. Bailey said. That's better than things. Just putting that out there. The beginning of Kmart operations in Java makes a shift of manufacturing's Behemoth, China. But however, Mr. Bailey said the move away from China is due to rising wages. Did not mean slave labor conditions at the company's factory in Java. Well, I was about to say, what am I about to read here? There is a minimum wage which is set by the area, and all of these people are governed by, and many are paid more than that because they do a little bit of overtime at their base hours of 40 hours a week, Monday to Friday, he says. Items to be reduced include board games, exercise mats, kitchenware, and clothing. The first 320 reduced price will hit shelves this week. The hundreds more to come throughout the year. Down. Indonesia is in the mainstream again. Look at you, Indonesia. Look at you. Hey, well, Dale, careful. I was about to say, Chappelle Colby came home, so they decided to pump things out of Indonesia. So there you go. Wow, I said it. Okay, moving along quite quickly. Oh, boy. Please don't murder me. I mean, I'm joking. I'm being fully facetious here, and people who aren't Australian aren't going to get that reference. And for people who are Australian, you are rolling on the floor laughing or saying, wow, Dale, you are a terrible human being. To which I will say, yes, I do, and yes, I am. But there you go. Wow. But I reckon clothing. You know, you watch these live streams, and I cycle through about 4 shirts, and it is what it is. And you know, you can't really do much. You know, clothing. I like shopping, but I don't like doing it on my own. It's a bit weird. If I do it on my own, it's a little bizarro town. But there you go. As we continue here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday, it's Dale Campbell here with you. I don't know why I'm looking down there. As we continue here on the Generic Live Show, it's the moment that you've been waiting for. It is Comey time. It's the moment I've been waiting for, actually, for 2 weeks. It's Comey time. We are having a Comey listening party right in the middle of the Generic Live Show because I say so. There you go. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you. It's 10:30.
Hey you, yes you, fine listener of this program. You can help us become more than what we already are. I know, it's a revolution. Hold on to your butts because I'm about to give you a URL address that could change our lives. Not really, but it would help us out tremendously if you went over to geek-io.net/support so we can do a lot more than what we're actually doing now. That website actually has a lot of links on it where you can help us out monthly through Patreon at our Patreon site at patreon.com/geekio, or you can help us out once off by supporting those who support us. But then you can become the ones who support us, who support you, who support us. It's supportception. To continue this supportception, it's in your hands. Go to geek-io.net/support.
This Geek-io podcast network is proudly sponsored by
ever-long
Geek.
cycle of support.
Geek is the biggest online retailer of all things geeky. That's right, everything geeky. And they stock the biggest brands in geekiness like Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Minecraft, Legend of Zelda, Marvel, Game of Thrones, DC Comic, and Geek Labs. And they sell a whole bunch of things like collectibles, electronics and gadgets, t-shirts and apparel, gifts. They sell it all over at Think Geek. And they have free shipping on orders over $75 or a flat $6.95 US standard shipping to all places in the US. So when you're ready to check out the range over at Think Geek, the online geek superstore, just use our link to go over to Think Geek over at geek-io.net/thinkgeek. That gives us a little bit of a kickback on what you buy. Don't worry, we're not stealing your shoe size or asking you for a blood sample. It's okay. We're only from what you buy. We don't actually see what you buy from Think Geek. Join in, geek out, Think Geek. We thank Think Geek for their support of the Geek.io podcast
Hello, dear
network.
listener. Here at Geek.io, we're always happy to give some support to the little person. So today I'd like to let you know about a small internet startup called Amazon.com. Go to geek-io.net/Amazon to check out their large catalogs of books and magazines. I believe they may have some other items for sale too, records and videotapes perhaps. Using geek-io.net/Amazon lets them know you discovered them through us, and I'll throw a few pennies our way. Thank you.
we're here to give you a big dose of genericness. This is the Generic Live Show. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you. We're doing it for Geek.io. Thanks for joining us. We're here on a Sunday. Thanks for joining us, whether you're listening to us live or on your hard drive. It's a pleasure to be here. We are broadcasting live over at Twitch, twitch.tv/TheChefWonder, THECHFWONDER, and on YouTube at youtube.com/Generic Live Show. But YouTube is messing up, and now they're doing audio because who knows? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I went there. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment that you've been waiting for a long time. It is time for a Comey party. Yes. Oh, yes. I don't know. I can't really use that sound effect.
I wouldn't make it a habit calling me that, son.
Yeah, see, there you go. I can use that sound effect. All right, thanks, Comey. We're having a Comey party right in the middle of this episode because why not? Because if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the testimony that James Comey did, fired James Comey did in front of the Senate Intelligence Committee. It's his first public comments since his May 9th ousting, pretty much. I agree with CBS News. It's an ousting that he, quote, takes the president at his word, unquote, that he fired because the FBI investigation into Russia election meddling. We have, well, hopefully the audio is here. Comey declines to discuss whether Trump colluded with Russia in an open setting. Comey declines to discuss whether the President Trump colluded with Russia during the 2016 election in an open setting. There is a question that I don't think I should answer in an open setting, Comey said. Comey did tell Mr. Trump that he was not subject of any investigation, him personally. So that line from Comey gathered an intimate attention on social media. The Senate Intelligence Committee will have a closed session followed. The closed session followed the open session, which Comey is expected to discuss more sensitive and classified information with the committee members. We're getting to this audio, and it's exciting. Here are James Comey's opening remarks. If they load, please tell me they load. Here is James Comey at the beginning of his testimony.
Let's suppose that you're writing a really important email to a colleague.
Oh, let's not suppose that, shall we? Here is James Comey.
I've submitted my statement for the record, and I'm not going to repeat it here this morning. I thought I would just offer some very brief introductory remarks, and then I would welcome your questions. When I was appointed FBI director in 2013, I understood that I served at the pleasure of the president. Even though I was appointed to a 10-year term, which Congress created in order to underscore the importance of the FBI being outside of politics and independent, I understood that I could be fired by a president for any reason or for no reason at all. And on May the 9th, when I learned that I had been fired, for that reason, I immediately came home as a private citizen. But then the explanations, the shifting explanations, confused me and increasingly concerned me. They confused me because the president and I had had multiple conversations about my job, both before and after he took office. And he had repeatedly told me I was doing a great job and he hoped I would stay. And I had repeatedly assured him that I did intend to stay and serve out the remaining 6 years of my term. He told me repeatedly that he had talked to lots of people about me, including our current Attorney General, and had learned that I was doing a great job and that I was extremely well liked by the FBI workforce. So it confused me when I saw on television the president saying that he actually fired me because of the Russia investigation, and learned again from the media that he was telling privately other parties that my firing had relieved great pressure on the Russia investigation.
That is former director of the FBI, James Comey. We're having a Comey party. It's a Comey party all up in here. The names, the clips continue. This one actually has my attention. This one is called the "I was honestly concerned with the might lie." Or that he might lie about the nature of our festival. No, this clip is called I was honestly concerned that he might lie about the nature of our meeting.
My understanding is you remained afterwards to brief him on, again, quote, some personally sensitive aspects of the information you relayed. Now, you said after that briefing, you felt compelled to document that conversation that you actually...
Excuse me, I sorry, butting in here. My podcast. I don't know who is talking. Sorry.
Just started documenting it as soon as you got into the car. Now, you've had extensive experience at the Department of Justice and at the FBI. You've worked under presidents of both parties. What was it about that meeting that led you to determine that you needed to start putting down a written record?
A combination of things. I think the circumstances, the subject matter, and the person I was interacting with. Circumstances first, I was alone with the President of the United States, or the President-elect, soon to be President. The subject matter, I was talking about matters that touch on the FBI's core responsibility and that relate to the President-elect.
No! No! Don't do this. Oh no! No! We lost the audio. I really wanna get back to this audio. Where were we up to? Let's tell me we were up to about here-ish.
I think the circumstances, the subject matter, and the person I was interacting with. Circumstances first, I was alone with the President of the United States, or the President-elect, soon to be President. The subject matter, I was talking about matters that touch on the FBI's core responsibility and that relate to the President-elect personally. And then the nature of the person. I was honestly concerned that he might lie about the nature of our meeting, and so I thought it really important to document. That combination of things I'd never experienced before, but it led me to believe I got to write it down, and I got to write it down in a very detailed way.
That is former FBI Director James Comey there. We're having a Comey party. It actually has a nice ring to it, actually. Comey party. Meanwhile, there were talks about some tapes. No, we're not talking 13 Reasons Why style tapes, though.
Let's suppose that you're writing a really important email to a colleague.
Don't do that. I don't think they're 13 Reasons Why style tapes, but hopefully they're not. I say that, but I'm like, maybe they are, maybe they're not. But Comey says release all the tapes. It's a Comey party on GLS.
Do you believe there were any tapes or recordings of your conversations with the president?
It never occurred to me till the president's tweet. I'm not being facetious. I hope there are, and I'll consent to the release of.
So both of you are in the same findings here. You both hope there's tapes and recordings.
Well, all I can do is hope. The president surely knows whether he taped me, and if he did, my feelings aren't hurt. Release all the tapes. I'm good with it.
Oh, release the tapes. Release the tapes. Release the tapes.
Let's do some math.
3, 2, 1.
Let it out!
Oh no, where's it?
For Scorpion, we don't make mistakes.
It's Scorpion, the smartest people in the world.
Let
me show you what it's all about.
I'm in.
Yeah, don't do that. All right. I had to override you because there's mysterious sound coming and I don't know where it's coming from. All right. Release the tapes. Release the tapes. Is that what the tapes sound like? Please tell me that's what the tapes sound like. Like commercial. They sound like commercials for upcoming movies. That's very A, oddly specific, and B,
very, very, odd. Could you imagine though if the tapes did sound like a party? That would be weird. We are kind of in the middle of a Comey party, and the fun and festivities did continue. Of course, I don't think we have any of the like blunders or anything here to listen to. I think it's all information based. It crashed, but we are getting there. Hopefully, we'll get there sooner rather than later. Oh, geez. All right. No one wants us to have a Comey party. What? Why would you have a Comey party? They say. Party back on. The White House has chimed in. The White House of all people have chimed in and said that the president just isn't a liar. That's what the White House is saying. That's the White House is the White House in this situation is the grandpa that turns up.
Let's suppose that you're writing a really important email to a colleague.
To the party.
Let's suppose that you're writing a really important email to a colleague. Your friends will see.
Where is that?
Or a
What?
post on Facebook
Or a paper
for your English class that you just
Whoa.
have to get an A on.
Okay, settle down. First of all, settle down. Second of all, I'm talking. I do the talking here. The White House says that the president is not a liar. Can we get to the clip? Oh my gosh. Oh my god, it's way too much for me. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, the White House seems to be this kind of grandpa that kind of turns up at the end and kind of goes,
is with us now, White House correspondent for Time. Zeke, you asked the White House about these tapes, which could go directly to that point of lying, if indeed there are tapes and can clear up the conversations.
Yeah, I mean, something kind of a striking off-camera briefing we just had with Sarah Sanders not too long ago, where she said, first off, she was offended that anyone would even ask the question whether or not the president lies. And we know that the president has certainly offered many misstatements and lied during the course of his business career and political career.
hang on, okay. Apart from me blasting everyone's ears out just then, hang on. Hold the phone. I want to replay this clip, and you have to pay attention because I can't pay attention anymore because I want to get this clip right. Here we go.
During the course of his business career and political misstatements and lied during the course and has certainly offered lies. And
here we go.
We know that the president has certainly offered many misstatements and lied during the course of his business career and political career. But on the
that is the White House saying that the president has it's documented that the president has lied in the past, but not now at all. Like that is not gosh, what is happening? The White House is saying that the president has lied. Sorry, a correspondent talking on behalf of the White House is saying that the White House says that the president, it's well documented that the president has lied in the past, but hasn't lied in this situation. Oh boy! All right, I still do this show. I still do this show. Really? Okay. All right. So that's that. I'm done with that clip. Lordy, I hope there's tapes. Is this next clip? There's this really obsession with tapes, isn't there? I love this obsession with tapes. We don't have any of the blunders to play, unfortunately. That was
Every year. Can't spell America's most.
You can't spell America without this sort of stuff. I really want to hope that this clip is good. This clip is called Lordy, I hope there's tapes. I really hope that this is fun.
and say, Mr. President, this is wrong. I cannot discuss this with you?
It's a great question. Maybe if I were stronger, I would have. I was so stunned by the conversation that I just took it in. And the only thing I could think to say, because I was playing in my mind, because I was remember every word he said, I was playing in my mind, what should my response be? And that's why I very carefully chose the words. And look, I've seen the tweet about tapes. Lordy, I hope there are tapes. I remember saying, I agree he's a good guy, as a way of saying I'm not agreeing with what you just asked me to do. Again, maybe other people would be stronger in that circumstance, but that's how I conducted myself. I hope I'll never have another opportunity. Maybe if I did it again, I would do it better.
That is former FBI Director James Comey.
Tell me about this guy, the smartest guy I've ever met in my life. This is gonna suck.
I'm really getting a bit tired of this website here. We do have to take a commercial break, do we? All right, there you go. This is the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. Lordy, I hope there are tapes. There you go. As we continue here on the Generic Live Show, well, people that make coffee, what do they hate about their customers? Probably a lot. If anyone has served me in the past, probably a lot. Actually, I have a fun story about a barista in Melbourne, but that's neither here nor there or anywhere. As we continue here on the Generic Live Show, that was a pretty lame call me party, if you ask me. That was a pretty generic call me party. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show. It's Dale Campbell here with you. We're doing it for Geek.io as per always. Thanks for joining us. It's 10:51.
Hey you, yes you, fine listener of this program, you can help us become more than what we already are. I know, it's a revolution. Hold on to your butts, because I'm about to give you a URL address that could change our lives. Not really, but it would help us out tremendously if you went over to geek-io.net/support, so we could do a lot more than what we're actually doing now. That website actually has a lot of links on it where you can help us out monthly through Patreon at our Patreon site at patreon.com/geekio, or you can help us out once off by supporting those who support us. But then you can become us who support you who support us. It's supportception. To continue this supportception, it's in your hands. Go to geek-io.net/support to keep a long cycle of support.
This Geek.io Podcast Network program is sponsored by Audible. They're the leaders in digital audiobooks on the internet. Choose from over 100,000 titles across all types of literature, including fiction, non-fiction, and periodicals. Try audible.com now and get your first 30 days of Audible Listener Gold membership plan for free. That's right, free, which includes 1 audiobook credit per month. After your 30-day trial, your membership will renew for just $14.95 per month, so you can continue to receive your audiobook credit per month, plus members-only discounts on all audio purchases. If audiobooks aren't quite your thing, well, that's okay. Audible also have a variety of radio and TV programs and audio versions of magazines and newspapers. Check out geek-io.net/audible for all of the details. And we thank Audible for their support of the Geek.io Podcast Network.
finally found the most generic live show. This is the Generic Live Show. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you. It's a pleasure, as per always, to get to do this show every single week. It's great to do this show, and it's just fun, you know. Getting to do this show, whether you're listening to us live, hard drive, whether you are here or not is another story. But you know, if you're not here, you're not hearing this message. So there you go. There you go. Why not? Optimism here from the Generic Live Show HQ. Thanks. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Generic Live Show. Now, GLS, final segment, final thing that we have to do. Why baristas hate us? Well, what do baristas hate most about us? Serving hundreds of customers who all like their drink a very specific way cannot be an easy job. Now, a Starbucks barista has revealed the most annoying things a customer can do in a coffee shop. And many of them you might not realize that you're doing. University of Michigan student Brian Beckwith, that's a pretty cool name, has worked at the coffee giant for over a year, but stressed that he does love his job. What? Okay. He hopes, the hope is by revealing the most irritating things that customers do, he can help spare a few baristas of grief. There you go. Don't dump your coffee in the bin. Brian says that many customers tip out some of their hot coffee in the bin, particularly when they're making room for milk. He says trash bags are already disgusting enough when changing them. Dumping liquid in them just makes them worse. He advised customers to simply ask for room in the cup if they wish to add milk. Brian said, ordering on your phone. Brian said it's not the only irreplaceable route to be glued to your phone when making an order. It makes that customers won't fully understand questions you may have asked them. We're suggesting putting away your phone for a few minutes to get the exact drink you were hoping for. Another thing as well, size does indeed matter. A lot of people don't specify what size they want. Probably about a third. Wow, a third of people don't specify what size. Wow, okay. He said that even if you don't get the correct link sizes, simply asking for a large will get the point across. The worker said saying the correct size at the beginning of the order means baristas can write the drink details on the size as you want it without having to repeat all of it when the cup is clarified. Baristas aren't psychic. Brian revealed that many people come back to him and says, I wanted that ice. I didn't want whipped on it. I don't know why I didn't know why I added that voice, but anyway, he said that changes to the unusual recipe can be specifically stated at the beginning. Brian explained, we are baristas, not psychics. There you go. As you were, you psychic goers, you. Yeah, well, though, to be fair, some baristas are magicians, so there you go. But yeah, maybe they provide magical goodness single morning to people, so they produce magic. So there is that. Wow, that's quite a loud video. Turns out big marketing ploy, free advertising, super deluxe, picture of that. That doesn't actually say anything at all. Fantastic. Another video with pointless things. Anyway, so I do now have time to say my Melbourne coffee story quick. So I was at Flinders Street. No, is that Flinders Street Station?
Melbourne Central. Melbourne Central. I was at Melbourne Central Station. No, I was at Flinders Street Station. I was at Flinders Street Station, and there's a Gloria Jeans kind of booth there, and it's kind of hard to explain where the booth is. But anyway, there's a Gloria Jeans there, and there was a rush, and I was right at the end of the rush. Thank gosh, I was at the end of the rush, and I basically just said, "Can I have a large?" I think I said just a large cappuccino on skim. And I swear to gosh, no word of a lie, the woman on the other end of the counter legitimately nearly jumped over and decided to hug me, because I was the least complicated order of that day. And we're talking like 9 a.m. So I was the least complicated order of her day. I made someone's day by ordering a large cappuccino on skim. Go ahead, make someone's day, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show. It's Dale Campbell here with you. It's a pleasure as always. It's 11 o'clock.
This has been a Geek.io Media Network production. Copyright 2017.